The PharmCast is a podcast sponsored by the Maryland Pharmacists Association. I'm your host, Aaliyah Horton. I'm the Executive Director of MPHA. And in my role, I have the opportunity to meet so many fascinating people within Maryland and around the country that are engaged in the practice of pharmacy. They're stakeholders, they're innovators, collaborators, and advocates. And this is my opportunity to bring those conversations and experiences to you. And it's another way that MPHA is fulfilling its mission to strengthen the profession of pharmacy, advocate for pharmacists, and to promote excellence in pharmacy practice. My hope is that at the end of these conversations, you will leave informed, engaged, and connected to pharmacy and our Maryland pharmacy community. Welcome to the PharmCast. Today's guest is Meroe Rabieifar. She is a PharmD graduate of the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. In 2008, having had experience in both community and hospital settings, she founded my community pharmacy in Wellington, Florida. And at the same time, she acquired Southwest Florida Infusion Care Sterile Compounding Pharmacy, that's a mouthful, and became an expert in compounding sterile medications. In 2012, she was the chief pharmacist at Alzheimer's Research and Treatment Center, where she took part in administering studies in the search for a cure for the Alzheimer's disease. And more recently, in 2016, she co-founded PharmCana LLC, where she serves as chief formulator and head of research and development. And in this sort of pioneering role is why we are talking to her. So Meroe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm really excited about this conversation. So we were chatting just before we got on that we met, so to speak, in August of 2019, where I attended a National Alliance of State Pharmacy Association meeting. Our kind of Southeast region gets together every year to talk about different issues. And the PharmCana leadership team essentially gave a presentation on CBD and the company. And it was really, really interesting. My now, I guess he's outgoing chairman of the board, who was the incoming president at that time, was attended that meeting. And we both were really, the presentation was really interesting, and it just was well put together. And I think one of the things that really struck with us was that the way it was presented, it was really relevant for the largely pharmacist audience. And I think that's your niche. And so this is actually why we're kind of coming together. And I have to mention, kind of full transparency, that MPHA has entered into a partnership or collaboration with PharmCana CBD. And so we think highly of the company and want to talk a little bit more about that so our folks can get to know you and we can kind of learn a little bit more. So what I want to start out with is really, like, CBD early on was kind of this sort of out there, and people were saying, and just sort of the general audience and maybe even some pharmacists, it was kind of out there, and like, are you really trying to like slide in medicinal use of marijuana or cannabis? But now it's really become sort of normalized in the health and wellness sector. And I think that when you talk about these things, you talk about kind of nutraceuticals and vitamins and everything, I don't want to say this, I think you guys have found a niche. So I want you to talk about where your company kind of fits in and why you started it, and just kind of share with us where you are.
A little story.
Yeah, tell us the story.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way that, you were just saying, that CBD, I didn't understand what CBD was. This is back in 2014 and 15 when we started hearing about CBD, and I thought it was related to marijuana, and I was very nervous about even carrying it at our pharmacy, which we were getting requests and we were trying to source it. We did find a company that I felt comfortable was not marijuana after having spoken with the owner of the company. But even then it was, it wasn't very consistent quality. And that's what was missing, I felt, in the industry was, first of all, the consistency and the quality, but also the trust. Who's making this stuff? I had no idea, and I honestly didn't have any faith in the people we were dealing with. And that's kind of what led me down the path of starting my own company. It was just so I could offer people a company that was founded by a pharmacist. We use the pharmaceutical process in everything that we do, from start to finish. So that's kind of what started our company. And initially it was just to provide it to my patients, right? Because my patients trust me. Any pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, anything that I have ever recommended to anybody, I stand behind. And since there was no company that I could stand behind, that's really the reason I started my own company. And we started it with, like I said, with our own patients, and it's just kind of grown from there, from doctors in the area hearing about our company and wanting to carry our product, to the local pharmacies that wanted to carry our product as well. It just kind of grew from there. And so now we're in, how many states are we in? 50 states. We're all in all 50 states
Oh,
at this
awesome.
point.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that you mentioned, I think that sometimes people forget that, like, the seed of innovation is when you don't have something that you really want, you create it
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think that's really awesome. And I think that's really inspirational for the pharmacy community, and that there's still lots of different ways to elevate the profession and to put pharmacy's mark on things that you would not traditionally think of. Um, one of one of the other things I thought was really interesting about the company, and I believe this is still the case, that you only sell to other healthcare professionals. Is
That's
that
right.
right? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, we didn't want to get diluted into the CBD world. As you know, there's so many thousands and thousands of CBD companies, and we didn't want to just be another company that's on the shelf at a vape shop. And ultimately, I don't believe that a vape shop or a gas station is a place where you go and get medication,
Right.
that is supposed to be healing you. And our our vision was to provide it in a scenario where you have access to a healthcare professional that can help you choose your dose, your even the route of administration. So we wanted to have our product be recommended through healthcare professionals that can assist the patient in choosing the right product, the right dosage for them. That was the reason we stayed out of gas stations and vape shops, basically.
Yeah.
And we had opportunities to do that, and honestly, we would be way more wealthy if we had done that, but we chose to stay with the integrity of the product.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that was just so fascinating and frustrating for me as the executive of the Pharmacists Association, getting so many questions, and people were calling and saying, but there was a time when the pharmacies really couldn't carry any of the CBD products.
That's right.
And they're like, but you can get it at I'm from Massachusetts, so I call it the Packy. You could get it at the Packy, you could get it at the liquor store or whatever, you could get it at the gas station, but you can't get it in a pharmacy. You get it in the grocery store. And that just did not make sense at
No.
all. So I'm glad that's kind of been cleared up.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think a lot of the misunderstanding led to that. A lot of the people, I mean, CBD has zero psychotropic effects.
mhm.
So when you look at the studies and you're aware and you have knowledge of all of that, it makes sense for it to be available in pharmacies. But for people who still had the confusion of marijuana and hemp, are they the same thing? Are they different? I could see where that confusion led to those wrong choices, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And we do actually have listeners that are outside of the pharmacy community. Yes, they're mostly my friends, but that doesn't matter. But I try to make sure that the other audience understands too. So I still get questions a lot about CBD. And, I've gone to your presentations and other ones and read a lot of literature, but where would you send, if someone wanted to do some research prior to going in and talking to their pharmacist or some other healthcare professional, or maybe that's what they should do first, where would you send them for some general information to be more comfortable, I guess, with the product?
I would send them to the pharmacist,
Okay.
honestly, because there's so much information on the internet and not all of it's true.
Okay.
And there's not really a website that I even go to. I look at studies only. I don't look at websites, but I go straight to the studies and I research every study and make sure. I think the pharmacist would be the best person, or a doctor, to ask questions about CBD, because they will do the research. They have the know-how to go and do the research for you. So that's where I would start. And if you're not getting anywhere there, I would call PharmaCanna. We're always willing to sit down, even with patients, one-on-one, and discuss any questions that they have. So you can go to
Okay.
pharmacanna.com, or what is our phone number? You can,
We'll add it in we'll add
yeah,
it in the
we'll
back.
add it in at the end.
We'll add it on the-
I don't remember. You don't memorize phone numbers, right?
There's too many.
Yes.
That's no problem. So I've been having these conversations lately, and I've usually been really focused on the topic that we contacted you about.
Mhm.
But in one of my recent conversations, I realized that, not realized, but we're in a pandemic, and so I
Yeah.
wonder how has COVID and pandemic impacted the work that you're doing, or has it?
It has actually impacted. We were going to a lot of trade shows just to make people aware of our product, and to help pharmacists understand the difference between, because I mean, even pharmacists had questions about
Mhm.
what CBD was. Now that's kind of like worked itself out a lot, because it's been around for so long. But at the beginning, that's how we were spreading the word on, no, hemp is different than marijuana. I was presenting and providing CEs in pharmacy associations, and we were doing that quite a bit over the last few years. And last year that came to a halt, and so that has impacted our reach quite a bit. But I would say that, we had built such a nice base that it hasn't hurt us too much. And then on the pharmacy side of things, we own our own local pharmacy and community pharmacy. And our business, we never shut down. We stayed open for our patients. We didn't want to be closed for our patients. And so we stayed open, and we provided all the things that our patients were requesting and needing and couldn't find, like toilet paper. And
Mhm.
we were able to find masks, gloves, paper towels, toilet paper, you name it. We were able to find it. And we even at one point compounded our own hand sanitizer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, when it was not available
Right.
anywhere. So we were providing all the things that our patients needed. And so we stayed open, and we actually survived fine through COVID at our pharmacy. And PharmaCanna has stayed steady. So we're pleased with both companies.
And that's just another reminder of, so many places did close down, and community
Mhm.
pharmacies stayed open across the country
Yeah.
and provided and filled in like all of the gaps. And your pharmacy's another example of that. And my hope is that we can really capture that,
Yeah.
um, to move forward in other areas of where we're trying to expand scope of practice and do more work with patients to demonstrate that even in, like, you can't get more harder times than this type of pandemic, just to say that pharmacists are here, and we're providing services kind of above and beyond in many cases. So thank you for that. Let's see. Um, so I do want to circle back a little bit,
Sure.
um, with, in reading your bio, you've been in a lot of different practice settings. And I think, and we talked a little bit earlier about innovation, and the pharmacy landscape is, there are a lot of pharmacists in the marketplace
Oh yeah.
looking for work.
Mhm.
And I really do like talking to people and highlighting folks that have worked in different practice settings, but then also found something new and innovative. And so if you could kind of talk about how you got, we talked a little bit about the business idea, but how you've been able to transition to different practice settings and found the, I guess, the courage to try something new. Just to give some, I guess, a little oomph and push for folks that are kind of wondering where to go, because, you know, I do think pharmacists have so much to offer.
Mhm.
Um, Community pharmacy is absolutely necessary, and there are a lot of folks working in the hospital systems, but there's a whole landscape of other things that pharmacy knowledge, PharmD knowledge, can be used in. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. As I was saying, I had worked in both retail and hospital settings, and I loved hospital. And when an opportunity rose to open our own pharmacy, it was scary. It was really, really scary because you're giving up something that's sure and steady and jumping into something that may or may not work. So it was, nerve-wracking. But once I got into it, I wanted to be my own boss. So once I got into it, I just did everything I could, everything, all the time I needed to spend, I was all in. So I feel like whatever you choose to do, and whatever presents itself to you, if an opportunity presents itself to you and it looks like you might be interested, just go all in. Go all in, because and for pharmacy students specifically, most of them are so young, you'll bounce back. It's not nothing's ever so final that you can't bounce back from it. So that's kind of the approach I took, is that if it doesn't work out, there's always something else to fall back on. So that's kind of the approach I took, and it worked out. I mean, it was a lot of hard work. It was years of, putting in sweat equity, but it worked. And I feel like hard work is the key. Hard work and just being all in. I think that's the key to making things work. And then opportunities, I feel like if you're open to opportunities, they just present themselves. And so when we had a pharmacist that's now running basically my community pharmacy, I still go in, but he's there most of the time because I'm busy with other things. But whenever we got somebody in to take my place, sort of, another opportunity presented itself, and that was the research job that I found, and it was what is he? He's a psychiatrist, and he decided that he wanted to have a research facility. And so he started the Alzheimer's Research and Treatment Center. He wanted to focus on Alzheimer's disease, and he needed a pharmacist to work on the infusion portion of the studies. And so I thought that was amazing. I was so interested. I thought it was so intriguing, and I decided to give it a try. And I did, and I'm still a part of that company. We're still, yeah, we're still going strong. We're close. We're very close to, I mean, there are a couple of studies that have been very, very promising. They're showing very, very, very good results. So we're hoping that, in the very near future, hopefully there will be a cure for Alzheimer's. So I'm still a part of that company. And then
I just have to say, you just kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I was reading your bio as a succession of activity.
Oh no, everything's still going on.
Everything is still going on. That's awesome.
No, we also have a sterile pharmacy that they were selling it, and it looked like interesting, and so we bought it. We bought it, and we bought it with some partners, and now we're the sole owners of the pharmacy, and we make IV antibiotics for clinics. And so we still have that. So we have a lot going on.
Okay. And did the research with the Alzheimer's group, did that help you with the research for Pharmacana?
No,
Or is it kind of just totally different?
it's a lot. It's very different. Now I was in pharmacy school. You do look at a lot of research papers. So I always found that fascinating. So having had that experience helped me in my job as a research pharmacist on the Alzheimer's Institute, but also it helped me in my CBD company because I was able to read a study and understand what it means, and so it's all kind of worked out to, get me where I am today. I feel like, the CBD companies, that's my baby right now. It's like, it's got all my focus, but again, I have a lot going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So this brings me to one of the questions that I always ask in the podcast is I'm very interested in how healthcare professionals who are here to serve others are
Mhm.
serving themselves in their own sort of wellness journey. So
Mhm.
what do you do to take care of yourself and kind of be okay? Because you're doing a lot.
I am. I am. It is a lot, and when I sit and really think about how much it is, I do tend to be like, oh my gosh, just the thought of it, it gives me a little bit anxious. I do make sure I have some time to myself. I never miss a meal with my family unless I'm in yoga class on Tuesdays. So I go to yoga twice a week. I meditate daily. I make sure I have meals with my family. So, I make sure that I put myself ahead of everything else I'm doing because that's the old, put your own mask on first before
Right.
assisting others. So I take that to heart. I make sure I take good care of myself too.
Do you find that because you're an entrepreneur that you're able to do that type of scheduling a little bit easier because you're sort of leading the business is you, and so you can make it what you need it to be? Do you find that that is a little bit of different or?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the perks of being an entrepreneur is that, yes, you have a lot of responsibilities. This is what I've been telling my daughter too, because she sees how hard we work and how much we have going on. And she says, I never want to be an entrepreneur. But then I tell her, yes, there's all the responsibility, but then you have so much freedom to explore what your wants are. What is it that you want to see happen? So you have so much room and so much freedom. And yes, it's scary. And yes, it's stressful at times. And you have to, balance things. You have to learn to balance things well. And sometimes you make wrong choices and sometimes you give up on an opportunity that you weren't sure was going to happen and it turns out to be the wrong decision, but I feel like overall it's been definitely worth it.
Mhm.
Definitely worth it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Um, we covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about. Did you want to share anything else about where you're going and like what's your vision for Pharmacana? Is it like global domination or what? What's
My goal has never been to be the only CBD on the market. I recognize there are other companies that sell good products. My goal has never been to beat everyone at the game. It's just been to offer what I have to offer. I'm a pharmacist. I stand behind my product. I We were the first company that was the pharmacist owned and pharmacist formulated company, CBD company, to be on the market. Um, I just this is what we offer. If it works, if it's a good match for your company or for you, then I'm happy. It makes me happy, but it doesn't upset me that there's competition out there, and we do have new products on the horizon. So I'm excited about that. We have new formulations actually being tested at the moment. So we're working on some stuff. It's going to be, exciting. And so, and if it works out, awesome, which I feel like it will. But if it doesn't, then, I tried.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. We do have, like I said, some good stuff on the horizon, and some exciting things going on. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things in season 1 of the podcast, we talked to a pharmacy owner in, oh gosh, where is it? I think he's in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And he expanded into this whole area and went on, got certification in nutraceuticals and supplements and that sort of thing, and CBD. And he found that doing that work and adding that extra service
Mm-hmm.
was really a benefit to his patients.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting and something that we found is that sometimes, some of these products are a little bit more, how do I say this? You hear a lot in the conversations about the high cost of medications and,
Mm-hmm.
the pain in the pocket and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he mentioned is that people will pay for things that work.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
frustrating if you're putting out money for these medications and you're still not feeling well. And I just thought that was really, really interesting, is that you're not going to get those complaints when people are feeling better.
Absolutely.
And if you can offer those types of services and support, so it may be the medications and providing that full scope of pharmacist knowledge and expertise, to have better patient outcomes, I mean, is amazing. So I really just appreciate the work that you all are doing, and that many in the pharmacy community are doing, to really understand that people just want to feel better, and that you all are providing the education, the resources, and the tools for people to do that. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the most rewarding things about having started the CBD line is having my patients come in who have been struggling with pain or with headaches, or with, I have had patients that have autistic kids, patients that have ADD, even people who have seizure disorder, who come in, try our CBD, and they come back and give me their feedback directly. That's been the most rewarding thing about this, is that I see how it has helped patients. And you're right, people are willing to pay for a product that's expensive if it's going to work and
right.
treat their disorder that has been debilitating in some of these cases. I had patients that couldn't walk up their stairs until they started using our cream. I've had patients that have had migraines for years and years until they started taking our drops, and they didn't like the side effects of the prescription drugs that they were taking, and when you consider that they're, first of all, off of their medications and on something that's a health food basically, and they're not experiencing the side effects, and they're getting better. I mean, it's been a win all around. Yes. And so that's been so amazing to see. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I think we've just about hit our time, so we can end there. So that's on a positive note, right?
Yeah, that's great.
So just really thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. I learned a lot, and I think our listeners will take a second look, if not a first look, at PharmCana, and I appreciate you sharing also your journey in your career. I think that will be helpful for others as well. And so anyone can go. It's pharmacana.us or pharmacana.com.
Both.
Either one works.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I've typed in
both,
both. And that's why I wasn't sure. I think I've done both. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being with you.
You too. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and rate the podcast on all major podcast platforms. We look forward to dropping more great conversations, and of course, sponsorship opportunities are available. Just contact us at MPHA. Thanks.